Acceptance, acceptance. Day 19 of 64 days of peace. The Michael Chekhov Way, acceptance. Wow, that's a big one, isn't it? I love Tara Brach's approach on radical acceptance, finding ways to say, yes, it's happening. If we don't accept that something is in fact happening. Uh, I mean, can you imagine if you didn't accept the door in front of you as being closed and you just kept walking? You know, you might have a little bit of a problem with your face as a result. Certainly unlikely to get through the door. And unless maybe it's made of glass and it shatters you and itself because you failed to accept it. Acceptance, I think sometimes people confuse acceptance with resignation, resigning from action. I think it's very opposite from that in this context. When we are looking at acceptance as a path to peace, we understand that denial of the existence of something doesn't make it go away. Pretending that violence doesn't exist does not dissolve it any more than the door is dissolved if you decide it's not there. We need to see the door, then we can open the door, right? Then we can find our way to unlock it and continue on our path rather than endure the violence of denial. So, what is the difference between resignation and acceptance? I think in resignation, we just give up in a way. I mean, yes, it's a kind of acceptance, but it is an acceptance in many ways of hopelessness. It doesn't seem to promote peace or a sensation of peace. So, acceptance of who we are and what is and who are our people in our life and what is the state of our home or the condition of our social environment, of the weather. If you go outside and you do not accept that there is a thing called sunburn, but it's 100 degrees out there and really sunny, you will fry. By the same token, if you start walking in the snow and you decide to ignore the fact that it's cold, frostbite will not be far away. But when you accept the cold, I love this, my friend Nancy made this remark. I hadn't heard it before, which is there's no bad weather, there's only bad clothing. So, yeah, if I accept that the weather is a certain way, I can prepare. If I accept that a door is closed and I want to move in that direction, I can prepare to open it. If I accept that the traffic is heavy and that I'm not going to get through and get where I thought I was going to get at the time I thought I was going to get there, I can calm down and I can begin to create ways to accept and work with what is. I can find an alternative way. I can attempt to communicate. If you're going to be late, communicate. I can accept that I am exactly where my higher self wants me to be. I can accept that I am with the people that I am supposed to be with at this moment in time and space. that I'm safe. I can accept that I am safe in time and space, wherever I am, that I am always safe. I can accept that. I can accept the great serenity prayer. Oh, I can accept that I can identify what I can change, what is, what I can change, what I cannot change. But I can always change my attitude, and I can accept responsibility. Acceptance of my complete responsibility for my thoughts, for my feelings, for my will force. As an artist, I can accept that this body of mine is going to control, as a performing artist, it's going to control the majority of the decisions made about my performance. The moment I walk in the door, the first few seconds that I'm seen, my form is assessed and decisions are made. 60 to 90% of the decision is made in the first 5 seconds you're seen. Wow. If I want to reject that, if I don't want to accept that, if I deny that, I may spend eons of time being terribly frustrated over not being able to book the jobs that I feel I ought to be able to. But if I accept who I am and the types that I appear to be, I also then can prepare to market myself in those areas and deliver really well and versatilely within those areas. And then I can accept that I do have a greater sense of impact and flow and control in my world. If I had a friend who was a very tall and very powerful woman, and uh, and and she told me this story about how she was very lonely, and it was very surprising to me because she's always smiling. She always, would greet people and reach out to them, and she had such a wonderful sense of humor and warmth. But she was large and probably, I don't know, 6'2" or something, and she was in a restroom at a job she was working at, and she was a bit lonely and feeling like nobody liked her. And she overheard a conversation because the two other coworkers didn't know she was in there. And they mentioned that they were scared of her because of how she looked. And in that moment, she had to accept that her physical form had a kind of power that scared people away. And she learned then, by accepting her form, that if she wanted people to really be open with her, she needed to open the door to them first. And this is why I was experiencing her as the warm and delightful and funny and powerful woman that she was. Acceptance of who we are, of the reality of the situation, definitely becomes key. I don't have any light on. I am working off the screen light from my computer today, and it's getting very dark outside. I knew this was going to happen, and I let this happen because I wanted you to be able to see that if I don't accept that it helps for you guys to be able to see me or experience me in some way, that if I just pretend you're not there, if I don't accept the parameters, the laws, the principles of being able to actively and dynamically engage you, you're going to turn away. Yesterday I did this whole shadow thing. Do you know why I did that? I got out there because I thought outside, outdoors, I should have freedom outdoors. That was the theme yesterday, freedom. And I should do it outdoors. And then I saw this love sign hanging on my fence, and I thought, oh, that would be a really neat background. And I'm going to set this up so that the sunlight will shine in my eyes. Oh, I got all my makeup on and everything, got the outfit all set there. And I got outside, and the tree behind me was casting this shadow on my love sign. And I was inspired to accept the shadow. And the whole thing became about light and dark and shadow and dealing with my own shadow and the freedom to do that. But if I'd have stuck in my mental capacities with not accepting that shadow that was in there, would have been a whole other story. And so, a great point of creativity for all of us is to start with what's really there. Own it, acknowledge it, embrace it, accept it, and then you can figure out how to deal with it in a creative way. Acceptance. Accept things radically. Doesn't mean you don't change them. You can accept that violence exists without accepting violence. Accept that it exists, and then you can prepare and transform it. Accept that idea.